When people talk about World War II, the story is often told through Europe's shattered cities or the distant islands of the Pacific. This is the story of what truly happened in Africa during World War II and how Africa contributed positively, powerfully, and decisively to the outcome of the war. In East Africa, the war arrived early. Foreign forces occupied African land, but African resistance was fierce. Local fighters knew the mountains, the forests, and the hidden paths. They used this knowledge to their advantage, launching surprise attacks, cutting supply lines, and refusing to surrender. This resistance helped liberate territories and sent a powerful message across the world. Africa could fight back and win. In North Africa, the desert itself became a weapon. The vast lands of Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, and Algeria turned into one of the most important theaters of the entire war. Here, battles were not only fought with guns, but with logistics, endurance, and survival. African drivers transported supplies across endless sand. African laborers built roads, airstrips, and camps under extreme heat. African guides and scouts helped Allied forces navigate land they did not understand. When key battles were won in North Africa, the direction of the war changed, and Africa played a central role in that turning point. But perhaps Africa's greatest contribution was its people. Over 1 million African men were recruited into the war effort. They came from West Africa, East Africa, North Africa, and South Africa. They fought in deserts, jungles, and foreign lands far from home. They carried heavy weapons through unforgiving terrain. They endured poor treatment, unequal pay, and racism, yet they remained disciplined and brave. African soldiers fought not only in Africa, but also in Europe and Asia. Many were among the first troops to enter liberated territories. Their courage rarely made headlines, but without them, victory would have been impossible. While soldiers fought on the front lines, Africa powered the war behind the scenes. African soil produced vital resources: rubber for vehicles, copper for weapons and communication, gold to support war economies, food to feed millions. African ports became lifelines for global supply routes. Dockworkers loaded ships day and night. Railways and roads carried supplies across the continent. Factories depended on African resources. Armies depended on African labor. Africa kept the war moving. African women also carried the weight of the war. They farmed the land when men were taken to fight. They worked in hospitals and factories. They supported families through shortages and hardship. Communities adapted. They endured. They survived. Africa did not fight with weapons alone. Africa fought with resilience. When the war finally ended in 1945, Africa had paid a heavy price. But something powerful had changed. African soldiers returned home having fought for freedom abroad while being denied it at home. They had seen the world. They had seen empires weakened. They had learned unity, organization, and strength. World War II planted the seeds of African independence. It ignited nationalism. It awakened a continent. So let the record be clear. Africa was not a footnote in World War II. Africa was not a bystander. Africa was a fighter, a provider, a strategic force. The Allied victory was not achieved by one continent alone. It was carried on African backs, powered by African land, and secured by African courage. Africa did not just witness history. Africa helped shape it.